Let me ask you something. You ever look in the mirror and not recognize yourself? Not in a dramatic way, just quietly. Like, when did that happen? When did the person who used to bounce back from a bad weekend of eating now need 2 weeks to recover? When did tired become your default setting? Here's what nobody told you. That wasn't aging. That was a slow motion choice. And I know that sounds harsh, but before you click away, I need you to hear this. Almost everything you were told about getting older by your doctor, by your parents, by the entire skincare and supplement industry was either wrong, incomplete, or designed to keep you buying something. I'm serious. The advice people follow most religiously about aging is the advice that's making them age faster. And I'm done watching people I care about follow a script that was written by people who profit from them feeling hopeless. So today we're throwing out the script. Okay, let's start with the one that makes me the angriest. You've heard it, I've heard it. Probably said it yourself? Oh, he aged well. It must be good genes. My mom looked old at 50, so I probably will too. It's just genetics. Not much you can do. This idea has been used to excuse everything. Bad skin, low energy, weight gain, brain fog, joint pain. We hand it all over to our DNA like we're filing a complaint with the universe and there's nothing left to do. And here's the gut punch. Science completely demolished this belief years ago, and nobody told you. There's a field called epigenetics. And before your eyes glaze over, let me make this real simple. Your genes, think of them like the apps on your phone. They're installed, but whether they're running, whether they're active or asleep, that depends almost entirely on your lifestyle. A 2018 study published in PNAS looked at identical twins, same DNA, same starting point. By their 50s, some of them looked like they had aged a decade more than their twin. Same genes, wildly different outcomes. The difference wasn't biology, it was behavior, sleep, stress, movement, food, relationships. That's what was aging one twin faster than the other. So when someone tells you it's genetic, what they're really saying, without knowing it, I've given up trying to understand what I can actually control. And listen, I get it. Giving up feels like peace sometimes. Blaming genetics is comfortable. It removes responsibility. It lets you off the hook. But it also steals your power. Because here's the truth, your genes load the gun, but your lifestyle pulls the trigger. And you've been walking around thinking the gun was already fired. It wasn't. Okay, let's talk about skincare, because this one is personal for a lot of people and the industry doesn't want you to figure this out. Walk into any Sephora, any department store, any CVS, and you are being aggressively sold the idea that aging is a topical problem, that it lives on the surface of your skin. And if you just find the right serum, the right retinol, the right collagen-boosting complex, you can reverse the clock. How many of you have a skincare routine that costs more than your grocery bill? No judgment, I've been there. Here's what the dermatologists who aren't on brand sponsorship deals will actually tell you. Your skin is an output, not an input. What shows up on your face? The lines, the dullness, the sagging. That is a report card of what's happening inside your body. It's your inflammation levels, your hydration, your blood sugar stability, your sleep quality, your cortisol. The cream isn't reaching any of that. When you apply a $200 moisturizer to dehydrated, inflamed, sleep-deprived skin, you are decorating a house that's on fire. Now look, I'm not saying skincare is useless. Sunscreen, non-negotiable. That's the one thing with decades of real evidence behind it. UV damage is a primary driver of skin aging. Wear SPF every day. That's real. But the serum that activates your skin's youth proteins or whatever the marketing says this week, that molecule is too large to even penetrate past your outer epidermis. You are moisturizing the dead layer of your skin and feeling good about it. What actually changes skin appearance? Consistent sleep, blood sugar control, reducing chronic inflammation, collagen, consumed, not applied, hydration, omega-3s. Cutting smoking and excess alcohol. These are not glamorous. Nobody's putting these on a beautiful frosted glass bottle and charging you $180, but they work. And they work deeply, not just surface level. The real anti-aging happens in your kitchen, your bedroom, and your gym, not your bathroom cabinet. This one gets me. Because I've watched people I love, sharp, funny, ambitious people, slowly accept exhaustion as their personality. I'm just tired. I'm not 25 anymore. I don't know, I just don't have the energy I used to. And they say it with this resigned laugh. Like they're being humble, like accepting the decline is wisdom. It's not wisdom, it's surrender. Let me introduce you to something called mitochondrial function. Your mitochondria are the energy factories inside every cell in your body. And here's something that isn't talked about nearly enough. Mitochondria are trainable. They respond to the signals you send them. If you move your body hard, consistently, they multiply. They become more efficient. They produce more ATP. That's your cellular fuel. You literally make more energy-producing machinery in your body. If you're sedentary, they shrink. They become inefficient. And you feel it as a slow, creeping fatigue that starts feeling like just who you are. There's also the hormonal side, testosterone, growth hormone, DHA. These decline, yes, but the rate at which they decline is significantly influenced by sleep quality, body fat percentage, stress levels, and physical training. I want you to think about someone you know who's in their 50s or 60s and seems electric, just full of life and energy, and you think they must just be lucky. No. Look closer. They're sleeping. They're moving. They're managing stress. They have something they care about. They're eating food that functions, not just food that entertains. Energy is not a fixed resource that runs out as you age. Energy is a biological skill. And like any skill, it can be built, maintained, or neglected. The 45-year-old who feels like garbage by 8 p.m. hasn't hit an age limit. They've hit the consequences of a decade of accumulated habits. And the good news, which nobody says loud enough, is that the body responds to change fast. Faster than you think. 2 weeks of better sleep and you feel different. 6 weeks of regular training and your cellular energy infrastructure starts rebuilding. You're not tired because you're old. You're tired because nobody told you the truth. Okay, deep breath. Because this one has probably caused more confusion, more suffering, more unnecessary weight gain and shame than almost any other health myth out there. Ready? Your metabolism doesn't significantly slow down because of age. I know. Give me 30 seconds before you argue. There was a landmark study published in Science in 2021. Researchers analyzed the metabolic rates of over 6,400 people across 29 countries, ranging from newborns to 95-year-olds. And what they found turned decades of conventional wisdom upside down. Metabolism, adjusted for body size, stays remarkably stable from your 20s through your 60s. It doesn't crash at 30. It doesn't fall off a cliff at 40. It stays essentially flat. For decades. So why are people gaining weight? Why does it feel like you're eating the same as you did in college and gaining 10 pounds a year now? Because your behavior changed, and slowly enough that you didn't notice. You stopped moving as much? Not dramatically, just incrementally. You drive where you used to walk. You take the elevator. You sit at a desk. You come home tired and sit some more. Your kids grew up and your weekends got quieter. You lost muscle. Because you weren't training it, and muscle is metabolically expensive, it burns calories even when you're resting. As that muscle mass dropped, so did your baseline calorie burning. And the food got slightly bigger. The pores got slightly larger. The restaurant portions got more extreme. None of it dramatic. All of it cumulative. The metabolism didn't betray you. The metabolism is waiting for you to come back. The real principle here is this. Muscle is the metabolic organ of the body. Build muscle, not just for aesthetics, not just for strength. Build muscle because it is the single most powerful lever you have for metabolic health at any age. Resistance training, protein intake, walking. These three things done consistently can completely reverse what people chalk up to age-related metabolism decline. It's not your age. It was never your age. This is maybe the one I feel most urgency about. Because the consequences are so serious and so silent. There's a condition called sarcopenia. It's the gradual loss of muscle mass and strength that happens as we age. And yes, if you do nothing, it happens significantly. By 70, people can lose up to 30% of their muscle mass compared to their peak. And here's what that looks like in real American life. It's your grandmother who fell and broke her hip and never fully recovered. It's your uncle who can't carry his groceries up the stairs anymore and quietly stops going out. It's the person at 60 who looks fragile, who moves carefully, who lives in fear of injury because one wrong move feels catastrophic. Weakness is not just uncomfortable. Weakness is dangerous. Weakness is the beginning of the end of independence. But here's what the research says with absolute clarity. Strength is buildable at any age. Any age. There are studies on 80-year-olds and people in their 80s doing supervised resistance training and gaining significant muscle and strength in 12 weeks. 12 weeks. Your body does not stop responding. It never stops responding. The people who get weaker with age aren't victims of biology. They are victims of the belief that weakness is inevitable. They stopped asking their bodies to be strong, and so the body stopped being strong. It's almost philosophical. You get what you prepare for. If you train for strength, you stay strong. If you train for nothing, you get nothing. And the beautiful, terrifying truth is that you decide which one every single day. Okay, we've destroyed some myths. Now I want to give you something real to hold on to. There's one concept that, once you understand it, changes how you see every health decision you make. It's called chronic low-grade inflammation. You know what acute inflammation is? You cut your finger, it swells up, it heals. That's inflammation doing its job. Chronic inflammation is different. It's quiet. It's not dramatic. You don't feel it as pain necessarily, but it is the underlying driver of essentially every major degenerative disease and condition we associate with aging. Heart disease, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, arthritis, even depression. These aren't separate problems. They're symptoms of a body that's been on low-grade fire for decades. And what causes it? Poor sleep. A diet heavy in ultra-processed food, chronic stress with no recovery, excess body fat, especially visceral fat around the organs, sedentary lifestyle, smoking, excessive alcohol. Look at that list. Look at it hard. That's a list of things that describe normal modern American life. The standard American diet, the standard American stress levels, the standard American sleep, and they are inflaming people slowly year by year, and then we're surprised when disease shows up at 55. Here's what reduces it. Omega-3 fatty acids and from fatty fish from quality supplementation. They are powerful anti-inflammatory agents. Sleep. I keep coming back to sleep because it genuinely might be the single most important lever. During deep sleep, your brain literally cleans itself. There's a system called the glymphatic system that flushes out cellular waste, including the proteins associated with Alzheimer's. If you are chronically sleeping 6 hours or less, you are not letting your body clean itself. You are accumulating biological debt. Movement. Even walking 30 minutes a day produces measurable reductions in inflammatory markers. Stress management, not because stress is soft or a mindset thing, but because cortisol, your stress hormone, directly triggers inflammatory cascades when it's chronically elevated. Meditation, breath work, time in nature. These aren't luxuries. They're anti-inflammatory medicine. And diet. Whole foods, vegetables, especially the deeply colored ones. Berries. Olive oil, nuts, legumes, reducing sugar, refined carbohydrates, seed oils used in excess. The Mediterranean diet isn't a trend. It has 40 years of hard evidence showing it reduces disease and extends health span. None of this is exotic. None of it requires a supplement subscription or a biohacking lab. It requires you to stop treating your body like a trash can and start treating it like something worth maintaining. Can we talk about this one? Because it scares people. The idea that as you get older, your mind fades, your memory slips, you can't learn as fast. You get set in your ways, and eventually, for too many people, something much darker. There are nearly 7 million Americans living with Alzheimer's right now, and that number is climbing. And while there's a lot we don't fully understand, here's what we do know. Cognitive decline is not a guaranteed feature of aging. It is in large part a consequence of how you live. The brain has a property called neuroplasticity, the ability to form new connections, rewire itself, even grow new neurons in certain regions. And this doesn't stop at 30. It doesn't stop at 60. It continues in a diminished but very real way through your entire life. What drives neuroplasticity? Exercise. This is the #1 intervention with the most evidence behind it. Cardiovascular exercise increases a protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Some researchers call it miracle grow for the brain. It literally promotes the growth and survival of neurons. Learning, doing things that are cognitively challenging and new, not crossword puzzles, those activate existing knowledge. But learning an instrument, a language, a new skill that builds new neural architecture. Sleep. Again. The glymphatic system I mentioned earlier clears beta amyloid plaques, the plaques linked to Alzheimer's. Sleep deprivation accelerates their accumulation. Social connection. This one surprises people. But loneliness and social isolation are as strongly linked to cognitive decline as smoking. The brain needs stimulation from real human connection. And the gut-brain axis, your gut microbiome, communicates directly with your brain through the vagus nerve. A diverse, healthy gut microbiome produces neurotransmitters and reduces neuroinflammation. This is why diet matters for brain health, not just body health. Your brain wants to stay sharp. It's trying. You just have to stop working against it. Okay. I've given you a lot of science, a lot of myth busting. But I want to say something now that no supplement brand or fitness app is going to say the deepest anti-aging force that exists is purpose. I'm serious. Hear me out. The longest lived populations on Earth, the blue zones, Okinawa, Japan, Sardinia, Italy, Nicoya, Costa Rica, Loma Linda, California, Ikaria, Greece. Researchers went in expecting to find some superfood, some genetic advantage, some workout secret. What they found was simpler and harder. These people had reasons to get up in the morning. The Okinawans call it ikigai, a sense of purpose, of being needed, of mattering. They had community, multi-generational relationships. They felt like they belonged somewhere. They moved throughout the day, not in scheduled gym sessions, but because their lives required movement. They ate mostly plants. They had rituals for managing stress and transitions. They had faith or community or both. And they lived into their 90s and 100s in good health. Meanwhile, in America, we have people hitting 50 who've retired from their own lives, who've stopped being curious, who've let their world shrink to a screen. who don't feel needed, seen, or connected. That is aging. Not the wrinkles, not the gray hair, the quiet shrinking of a life. Here's what I believe, and I believe it based on both the science and what I've seen with my own eyes. The people who age the best are not the ones who found the best cream or the best diet. They're the ones who stayed alive inside, who kept caring, who kept growing, who kept connecting. Purpose lowers cortisol. It activates the immune system. It gives you reasons to sleep well and eat well and move your body. It keeps your brain building new connections because you are always trying to understand something, solve something, make something. You cannot buy this at GNC. You have to choose it repeatedly, even when it's hard. Okay, let me bring this home because I know some of you are sitting there thinking, okay, but what do I actually do? Fair. Here's the honest, unsexy, actually works list. 1. Lift heavy things regularly. Resistance training is the single most powerful intervention for longevity that we know of, not just for looking good, for metabolic health, bone density, joint stability, insulin sensitivity, hormonal balance, cognitive function. You don't need to become a bodybuilder. But 3 to 4 sessions a week of progressive resistance training where you are actually challenging your muscles, not just going through the motions, this changes everything. At any age, start where you are. 2. Prioritize protein. Americans undereat protein as they age at exactly the time they need it most. Aim for close to 1 gram per pound of your target body weight. Prioritize whole food sources: eggs, chicken, fish, Greek yogurt, lean beef, legumes. Protein isn't just for gym people. It's for everyone who wants to keep their muscle, their metabolism, and their independence. 3. Sleep like it's your job. 7 to 9 hours, non-negotiable. Dark, cool room. No screens an hour before bed. Consistent bedtime, even on weekends. This is when your body repairs, your hormones reset, your brain cleans. There is no supplement that does what sleep does. 4. Walk more than you think you need to. 10,000 steps sounds like a lot. It's about 5 miles. You don't need to do it all at once. Park further. Take calls while walking. Walk after dinner. This alone significantly improves blood sugar regulation. Walking is the most underrated longevity tool on earth. 5. Eat real food most of the time. Not a diet. Not a protocol. Just, if your great-grandmother wouldn't recognize it as food, be skeptical of it. Vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, quality protein, healthy fats, not perfectly. Not obsessively, but consistently. 80% of the time is enough to transform your biology over years. 6. Manage stress actively, not passively. Not by having a glass of wine, actively, through breath work, through movement, through time in nature, through journaling, through therapy if you need it. Chronic stress is biological poison. It's not a personality trait. It's a medical problem and it deserves real solutions. 7. Invest in your relationships. I know this doesn't sound like health advice. It is. The Harvard study of adult development, the longest running study of human happiness and health ever conducted, ran for over 80 years. The number 1 predictor of health in old age? The quality of your close relationships. Not cholesterol, not income, not fame. Relationships. Call people. Show up. Be present. Let people matter to you. 8. Stay curious. Read things that challenge you. Learn a skill that makes you feel stupid at first. Travel somewhere that disorients you. Have conversations with people who see the world differently. Your brain needs novelty the way your body needs movement. Give it what it needs. I want to leave you with something. There is a version of you in 20 years. And right now, today, you are deciding what that version looks like. Not dramatically, quietly, in the 1,000 small choices you make every week that feel insignificant but are building something, you are deciding whether that future you has energy or doesn't, whether they are strong or fragile, whether they are sharp or foggy, whether they feel alive inside or whether they feel like someone who used to be someone. The culture wants you to believe aging is something that happens to you, that you are a passenger, but you're not. You are the driver. You have always been the driver. You just maybe handed the wheel over to old habits, old beliefs, a story that someone else wrote about what your body is capable of. Here's the truth that I want to leave tattooed somewhere inside you. It is not too late. For almost anyone at almost any age, the body responds. The brain responds. Biology is not a sentence. It is a conversation. And the question is, are you willing to change what you're saying? Because the people who age beautifully, who live fully, who die with their boots on, but they're not special. They don't have magic genes or perfect circumstances. They just decided at some point to stop accepting the story they were given, and they wrote a new one. You can do that today, not Monday, not after the holidays, not when life settles down. Today, go sleep an hour earlier tonight. Eat something that actually feeds you. Call someone you love. Pick up something heavy tomorrow morning. It's not sexy. It's not a 30-day challenge, but it is the truth. And you came here for the truth.